Hi, this is Dave, and welcome to the Table. And today we are going to be taking a look at OctoDice from Pegasus Spiel. And what I'm going to do is do a whole playthrough using the solo rules so that you can see how the game plays out from beginning to end. The game doesn't take that long, but something that you may want to check out. And at the end, I'll have some thoughts. All right, let's take a look. Okay, here we are set up for a solo play of OctoDice, and let me quickly go over the components, and then we'll talk about how this game is played. And I'm going to play through a whole game so you can see how it progresses. So the first thing, when we open up the box, there's going to be this large double-sided pad of scoring sheets. So on this, we will mark off different actions that we take. These are the types of actions at the top. And down at the bottom, we will record all of our knowledge points that we score throughout the game. There are 6 different dice that come in the game, 3 black ones, 3 white ones. The white ones all have different symbols on them that we'll roll, and the black ones all have numbers and colors. And then both of the dice will also have these purple octopods showing up on the face. There are 9 double-sided lab tiles, and each of them have different abilities. And you can use whichever ones that you like in a game. Just make sure that you arrange them in rows of level 0, 1, and 2. And then finally, each player receives 4 markers. One is going to be their player color, so we are playing red. And then we put the other 3 above each of these lab columns. So those are the components. We're pretty much set up and ready to go. Let me zoom in on our score sheet, and I'm going to talk to you about the different actions that we can take, and we're going to be putting dice together in order to perform them. The first one that we can do is perform what's called an analyze a crystal action, and we would combine the crystal face with one of the numbers on the black dice, and we would cross this off and record however many points are down at the bottom. Researching in an area, we would use this research symbol and couple it with one of the colors. Now these we have to do in order, so we have to start off with yellow and work our way down. This expanding our lab, we would use this lab face like this, and then in order to expand, we would couple it with another number. So for example here, a 0. This will allow us to expand into a level 0 technology, a 1, and there's also 2 on here. These have to be done in order. So if we're progressing through, we can't skip over anything. We have to work our way down. We also have the ability to activate bots. So we take this bot symbol and couple it with one of the colors, and we would get bonuses. 1 point the first time for that color, 2 points for the second color. And then we have this ready a sub to go out, and this we just couple the sub with one of the colors. These won't give immediate points, but they will in what's called an intermediate scoring opportunity. Down at the bottom, we will record all of the different point values depending upon if we did it in the first action of our turn or the second one. And then also when we get to these octopods, we'll talk about that. But in each round, we need to at least cross off 2 of them, otherwise we score a penalty. Now let's quickly talk about these lab actions or lab things that we can expand to. So these level 0 ones, this one is called FlexiLab, and if we advance to here, we can once per turn, if we have a yellow on the black die, we can change it to any color or number. So this is going to be good to have the ability to couple them to take different actions. We have this Flex Attack. This is going to allow us to, once per turn, to use a research action as if it were a bot action. So we can substitute this for this. And we can also, with Flex a Sub, once per turn, we can use a submarine symbol as though it were a bot symbol. So those are good to allow us to substitute dice. The Flexi level, if we advance down to this, when we perform the expand lab option, then the number is no longer going to be important. We can use any number. And so this is going to be really good for us if we go this route to expand our lab. This is going to give us the flexibility to do it a lot quicker. This Crystal Plus, every time we analyze a crystal, we'll get a bonus. And we have this Octo Sub, and once per turn, we can use a submarine symbol as though it were an octopod. And then down this finally this level 2 abilities, and these are all end of game bonuses or scoring opportunities as noted by this little clock. And so this Super Octo, I mentioned about having to cross off that penalty for the Octo pods. If we, depending upon the number of times that we do it, we'll score bonus points. This Super Copy, this is really cool. If we advance down to this, we can copy or use another level 2 ability. So if we didn't advance to it, we can use it, and if we did advance to it, we could use it a second time. So it's really, really good. So if you go this route and you get down to here, you can activate this one twice. And this Super Lab H, and what this is going to do is get bonus points for each completely expanded lab row that we are able to accomplish. And one other thing with the labs is that as we advance them, you know, if we move down to here, we still have this ability. So they will stack. So this is really, really cool. All right. So enough of all of that talk about all of the different actions and different things that we can do. Let's get into the gameplay so you can see how the flow of this game goes. And so what's going to happen is the first thing, we are going to roll all 6 of these dice, and what we're going to do is set aside 2 of them, and then we're going to re-roll, set aside 2, and then re-roll the last 2. So it's going to be this progressive set of die rolling. So not really sure what I want to do right now. I've got these 2 octopods. It would be nicer to have them on the black dice because the white ones give us all the actions, but maybe I will set aside one of those, and maybe I want to think about using this bot action, so I'll set aside this one. And then I'm going to re-roll these 4 dice. So those 2 are set aside. And I have a submarine and 3 numbers. Going to keep this one here, and I'll go ahead with this red 0. Hold on to these. And the reason why I'm going to hold this one, hold on to this one, is if I'm fortunate enough to roll a research action, I'm already set with the yellow to be able to perform that. So final roll here. I have another octopod and a 0. So now that I've done this, I can perform up to 2 what they consider base actions. And so I'm only able to do one of them, and that's this bot action. I have to make a decision now. Do I want to do it as a red or a yellow? At this point, it doesn't make any bit of difference, so I'm going to just use a red one. So what I will do up here in this score sheet is under the bot action, I will cross off this red. And if we look, it's worth 1 point. So down in the bottom section under this 1A action, we're going to put 1 point. So that was the first action of my first turn. I can't perform a second action, so I'm going to put 0 points there. I can't do that. And then finally, we are going to consider what's called catching octopods. We're going to look at the dice, and we're going to cross off any. I happen to have 2 of them on 1 turn, so I'm going to cross these off on my turn, down in my section here, these 2. Now I have 2 octopods in 1 turn, and if I have 2 of them, I'm going to get a bonus of 1. So over in this octo space, I will put 1 point. So right there. So my net points for this particular turn is 2 points. And so what we're going to do then is continue on now our second turn. And we're going to again set aside dice. Let's see. I do have a research action, or expanding our lab. I'm sorry. I'm going to hold on to that, so I can think about doing that. I don't need octopods anymore, so I'm going to go ahead and re-roll all those. And I have a research action with the yellow, which is really good. I'm going to hold on to that for sure. And then the final roll, I'm going to roll these again, and I have another research, or expand a lab with a 1. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to expand my lab. So what I have to do is have this computer symbol, and I need to have a 0 because I haven't advanced to any of the 0 levels. And I think at this point right now, I'm going to opt to expand this FlexiLab. This is going to give me a little bit more being able to change the yellow dice if I want to. So that's my first action. I don't score any points. I put a 0 down there, but I did advance here. So now for me to advance again, at this point, I'm going to need to have a research action and a 1 if I wanted to do that. And if I wanted to do this action again, I probably could. And you know what? I'm going to risk it. I'm going to go ahead and take a second lab action. I'm not going to score any points there. However, I am now up to this Flexi level. So this is going to allow me to expand my lab a lot quicker. And this other one, even though I was thinking about taking this research action, I'm not going to do. So 0 points there. I forgot in this other one that to cross off this -2. Now, in a normal multiplayer game, we have this other space down here with this little eyeball. We would be able to, once per third, we would be able to do actions using our opponent's dice. But in a solo play, what we're going to do is end up playing 3 turns per round. So that's one of the things that is different in the solo play. So for our third turn to simulate spying on our opponents, we're going to roll the dice and do the same thing again. Now here I have this yellow action, this action that I would like right here. So I'm going to hold on to that and re-roll these 4 dice. There was some that I really would have liked to have had too. We have another research action. I think I'm going to hold on to this expanding this lab and this black one. I usually tend to grab these in pairs and set them aside. And we'll see what our last action is going to be. We have an octopod and we have a 2. So, okay. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to use this action right here, this research in the yellow area. So I will go up to here, cross off this yellow because it has to be done, and that's going to be 1 point there. So this is taken care of. And I'm going to go ahead and expand my lab even one more time. Now, because I have this Flexa level, this black die, the number no longer makes any difference. So I could use this 1 even to go to a level 2. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I do not score any points there either, but I did expand my lab to a comfortable spot here, and now I'm just going to work on these later on during the game. So now that we have completed this first section, we're going to do what's called an intermediate score. And the first thing that we're going to do is look to see if we had this penalty for not collecting enough OctoDice, which we crossed it off, so we're okay. The next thing that we would do is if we had any subs sent out, which at this point we don't, depending upon the number of bots on there, we would get points of 0, 1, or 2. So at this point we don't have any, so we're going to get a 0 and we mark it off there. And then what we're going to do is just add up our points, and we're going to move on to the next round. So right now I just have 1, 2, 3 points for the first round. I didn't score a lot of points this turn, but I did put myself in a good position for some end of game bonuses. So now we're going to move on to the next round. And we're going to do this again. We're going to roll the dice. And we have, let's see. We have a sub action, and I'm going to hold on to this yellow die. Because of my ability, I can change that to another color or number if I want to. We'll roll the dice again. And we have 2 octopods. I'm going to hold on to those just because I'll get those out of the way for the round. And the final roll, we have another octopod and a 1. So what I'm going to do is perform 1 action this turn because I can only do 1. And I'm going to do the sub action. I'm going to use my FlexiLab to make this as if it were red. So I'll go over here and I will mark this off on this particular space. I did not score any points for that particular action. My second action I can't perform, so I get a 0. I have 3 octopods now, so I will cross off these 1 and 2, and also this -2 bonus. And if I look over here, because I have 3 octopods, I get 3 points. And so that was pretty good, and it kind of helps soften it up a little bit because you're not able to perform any actions that you get those bonus points. Next turn, we're going to go ahead and roll the dice again. And let's see, what do we have? I'm going to hold on to this diamond and this 2, so that crystal action there. Going to roll again. We have another crystal action, and we have an expand the lab. I'm going to hold on to that. And finally, this last one, we have another sub and a 2. Okay. So my first action that I'm going to do is I will go ahead and expand my lab. And the first thing that I'm just going to bump up to here, again, I don't need to have a 0 due to my flexi level. So that's going to be my 1 action there. My second one, so that the first one, I did not score any points, so I put a 0 down for that. Second one, I'm going to analyze a crystal. And so I will cross off one of these that I did. And down at the bottom, this is worth 2 points. I put a 2 there. And no octopod bonuses. Third action. This turn, or third turn I should say. Let's see, what do we have? I'm going to hold this, put this aside here, this and this yellow, because I have the option to change this into another color, so I could progress on to this next one here, which would be a good idea. And we have some more bot actions down here. So we don't really have a choice there. We'll hold on to running a green. And we have an octopod and a 1. So what I'm going to do, my first action, I'm going to use my Flexilab ability to convert this into a red. So I would be able to mark off this particular action right here. And this is worth 2 points. So I put 2 down here. And the bot action I'm going to take, I will put in as a blue and get 1 point. And again, now we're going to do our intermediate scoring. We don't have the -2 penalty, which is good. Now, this time, because I do have a red sub that went out and I have 1 bot on board, I will score 1 point as my bonus right there. So I have 1 point there. And we're just going to add these up. So I have 3 plus 2 is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 points here. And we're going to move into the third round of the game. And we roll the dice again. And, boy, what do I want to do? I'm looking at my options of what I have. I want to expand my lab again. So I'll just hold on to one of these. That way maybe I can get some more points doing the crystal, or if I can get that Flexus sub, I can get bonuses. Now I won't be able to advance at the end there. Let's see. About the bottom here. Well, I could hold on to this and this, because now I have the option to use this bot for blue, and maybe I can get a blue submarine, and I will be able to launch that, and that would be okay, get some points there. And then we have another expanding our lab. So, first thing that I'm going to do is perform a bot action. So I'll take this bot and this blue. Whoops, this was a computer. And I'm going to cross this off. So that's going to give me 2 points. And the other one that I'm going to do is go ahead and expand my lab 1 down here to this Crystal Plus action. So I won't get any points there. No octopods this turn, so I get 0. So next turn, I'm going to roll the dice. And I've got my 2 octopods here. No, let's see. Boy, oh boy. I'm going to hold on to this sub action and one of these octopods for this turn. I'd like to get some octopods, but I also would like to get a sub, and maybe if I can roll that yellow, I can turn it into a blue to get this blue sub action. So let's see what we have. We have a gear, expanding our technology one more time. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. And come on, give me another one here. So I have a bot and a 0. So I did get the yellow that I wanted. Okay. So let's take a look at what my options are. The first thing that I'm going to do is use my FlexiLab to turn this into a blue and do this sub action over here. So that blue, we're going to get 0 points there though for doing that. And the other thing that we're going to do is go ahead and expand my lab one more point. So we're going to go down here to super copy. So I won't get any points there. No bonuses for octopods. However, we did capture 1. So I have 1 there that I mark off on my sheet. And this is the final turn of the game. And we're going to look and see what we have. Okay, we have... we'll save 1 octopod for sure. And I don't necessarily know if I want to expand my lab, because if I expand my lab across this way 1 more point, I could copy this super lab and get points. Well, you know what? Let's do that. We'll expand. We'll hold on to that. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. We'll risk it. We'll risk the points at the cost of losing out on octopods. Let's see here. We have this gear and a blue, and the last one we have this bot and a blue action. Okay. So, well, the first thing that I'm going to do is do this gear and this blue because it's the next order of progression on my research. So we do that, and that's 3 points there. And I'm going to go ahead and expand my lab over here to go to this Flexus sub. So I can complete that particular row all the way. And so expanding the lab doesn't give me any points. So now we're going to go through. That was the end of that particular turn. I'm going to have a -2 penalty for the octopods. However, now when I do this last sub action, we look here, I'm going to have 1 here and 2 points here. So that's going to give me 3 down on my subs down at the bottom. All right, so let's add up the points. This 2 and this 2 are going to wash with each other, so that's going to give me 6 points right there. All right, so now we're going to go into this end of game bonus, and this first one is going to show this crystal action, and when you're playing a solo variant, this is not going to count, so we'll just cross that off there. And next we're going to resolve each of our lab opportunities. So what's going to happen is this Super Octo down at the bottom, I was able to cross off the penalty twice, so that's going to give me 2 points. And this super copy, I'm going to go ahead and copy this Super Lab H, and because I advanced the first level, I'm going to get 4 points for that. So 4 plus 2 is going to be 6 points. So I add that to my score here. And we're just going to add up all of the our little scores here. So I have 3 plus 9 is 12. 12 plus 6 is 18. 18 plus 6 is 24. So 24 points on the solo play of OctoDice. All right, so you had a chance to see OctoDice played all the way through using the solo rules, and the only differences between the solo game and the multiplayer game is in a multiplayer game there would only be 2 turns per third of the game opposed to 3, because the 2 spaces that are on the score sheet are used to be able to spy on other players and use their dice and put them together to perform actions. And then the other difference is that at the end of the game, there would be bonus points awarded to the players who analyze the most crystals. So those are the only differences. This is a Dice Euro, something that I mentioned in my 2015 year-end wrap-up about these games that have these, these games are, have these elements of the Euro games as, typical Euro games of being, efficient, trying to score the most points and all these things. But it's being driven by the randomness of dice rolling. And something that I mentioned in my year-end wrap-up. There was a number of games that came out last year like that, and will we see more? But you have this randomness of the die rolling, but it comes across thematically because in the story with OctoDice is that down in the subsea station of Aquasphere, the bots have stopped working, and now all of the researchers are running around trying to do all these different actions and keep things going, and so it comes across that way. So it works that way. But if you are somebody who does not like randomness, this game may not appeal to you, but there are some cool things that are in the game that take the opportunity to listen to me and consider them. Well, first of all, one of the neat things is that there are elements of the game that are going to allow you to mitigate the luck. And that primarily comes across with being able to expand your lab, because there are a lot of lab technologies that are going to allow you to manipulate the dice, and there are other ones that if you choose to go on a specific strategy, if you can do those things over and over, you can get bonus points for performing those. One of the things that I really like best about this game is this diminishing pool of dice that you can re-roll. Now, typically when you play a Yahtzee style game, you roll the dice and you keep all of the ones that you want, and then you re-roll the rest, and you do that until you've done it 3 times, and hopefully at the end you have everything that you need. Well, in OctoDice, you roll the dice, and no matter what, you have to set aside 2. Sometimes there may be a lot more dice that you can use, and you're like, shoot, I want to keep them all, but I can't. Or there's other times where it's like, man, there's really nothing that I can use. Which ones am I going to take? So you have some questions now that start going through your mind that go back in this typical Euro fashion of which of these are I going to set aside that are going to allow me to be most efficient and allow me to score the most points. But some of the questions that you're going to ask yourself as you're going to set aside these dice are, some of them, I know that these 2 are a sure thing, and I can put these aside and take this, I can be able to take an action and score points. I know that. So that's one of the questions. The other one is, okay, I can set these aside and know that at least I can manipulate one of these dice to change it to do something that I would like to do. And, or it's like, all right, I can set this aside and hope that in a future roll I have something that I can use. So you have these 3 questions that you're going to be asking yourself every single time that you go to re-roll the dice. And one of the neat things is, and you saw when I set aside the dice, I typically was setting aside 1 white and 1 black. You're not required to do that. And the other thing is, you're not, just because you set aside those 2, that if they pair together, they don't necessarily, you're not forced to take that particular action. So at the end, you have this flexibility to put things together. And so your strategies can change from game to game, so you're going to increase the replayability. But one of the things that I like about this is that sometimes your strategy is going to be defined by the dice for you right at the beginning of the game, and other times you're just going to have to take it as you go. More often than not, you're going to take it as you go. But one of the things for me in this particular game, the strategy to go for lab technologies came across in the very first turn when I had 2 opportunities to expand in the lab, and I went the route where I had with the Flexa level, I could, as long as lab actions showed up, I was able to, I could take those actions, and that's what I chose to do. And I think it worked out pretty well for me, because out of 9 of the labs, I had 7 of them. So that was pretty cool. And then I also like that while dealing with the dice and dealing with the actions and trying to be efficient, that there are a bunch of different actions that require different things. Some of them have to be done in order. Other ones you just grab their straight up points. Other ones they're relying on each other to take action. So those are all really, really cool things that that come together in this game. Now, it reminds me of Ra the Dice game, which is an older game in which you have so many different things that you want to do, but you only have so much time. And so I like that, and it really kind of forces you to kind of choose a couple things to really focus on in order to be successful. And so that's going to change, like I said, from game to game, which routes you're going to go. From a family perspective, some really cool things about this game. First of all, it plays quick. So you saw this game, solo game was 20 minutes. It's super easy to teach. It does not take up a lot of space. You don't really have a player board. You just have a sheet. If you're concerned about running out of these, if there's a lot of them, you can go ahead and make copies, you know, and use those. But just a really enjoyable game that you still have to, you know, it's still going to force you to make decisions about still being efficient, what's going to be the best decision. And a couple of other things that are in this game that, you know, it's not a punishing game, so you don't have to worry about a game getting beaten up. You do have some other factors in here. Maybe you're not going to take actions, but if you have a whole bunch of OctoDice, you can pick up some points. And there's different things along the way. So it's going to, typically I'm finding the games to be rather tight in the scoring. And so it's pretty competitive all the way through. So that's another exciting aspect from OctoDice. The game is not available in the United States market as of yet, so if you're looking to pick this up right now, you might want to check Amazon.de. You can get it there because this is done by Pegasus Spiele. So hopefully for the U.S. market, they will partner with a publisher here to bring this one over. But I find this one to be an enjoyable experience. It's a fun game. I like the theme. I like that it's set in the Aquasphere world. And just overall, a solid game that still, despite the randomness, is going to still give you some pretty cool decision-making opportunities. So that is OctoDice. All right, that's it for now. Thank you for joining me for this review and the playthrough. I hope that you found it beneficial, and you can use it for your game buying decisions. If you'd like to, press the subscribe button in the video description below. Love to have you keep up to date with all of the stuff that I'm doing so far. And join me again next time as we take a look at another game and we see how it makes it to the table. Bye-bye.